Hello everyone, thanks for tuning into the 5th Winter 2022-2023 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we go again, it's time to bring you another winter update. We're up to update number 5 now, Winter 2022-2023, and it's going to be an absolute epic. We've got 82 open tabs, so I'm going to try and get this done in around 40-45 minutes. So it's going to be interesting to see how it works out, and I will get on with it for you in a moment. Just to say thank you so much to Richard and also to Shryan for all of the help on the video. So I'm going to play the GIF. Let's play it, Rich. There we go. We're going to play the GIF. Thank you so much, Richard, for the GIF. We're naming the bird as well. So the bird is going to be named in the live stream tomorrow. If you haven't yet given the name that you would like for our winter updates forecast GIF bird, then please leave it in the comments, and I shall add you to the name picker. And at the start of tomorrow's live stream, we are going to name the bird, and it's going to be very, very, very fun, and we'll have a laugh, and we'll do that for you on the live stream tomorrow. But thank you so much to Richard. Thank you so much, Richard, for the gear. Thank you so much, Richard, for all the help on video, and thank you so much to Shryan as well. When we get to the parts where Shryan and Richard have helped, of course, I will give them a really good shout out. So these winter updates, of course, are building up the picture forensically week by week until we get to our forecast. We're going to be releasing the GavsWeatherVids Winter 2022-2023 forecast on Sunday, the 4th of December. So we've got plenty of updates to go through yet. We're still a long way from the forecast, but each week these updates build up the picture forensically, like adding another ingredient into the cake until eventually we get to our forecast. And as I say, that'll be released on the 4th of December. It's going to be great. Right, well, I think we've so much to do, we'd better get on with it. Let's just play the GIF one more time. There we go. Wow, wow, wow. Playing the GIF. Thank you so much, Richard, for our winter updates GIF. But first thing we're going to show you, actually, is going to be the swingometer from Richard. So I'm going to do a little countdown, I think, and then you will see how the swingometer is looking after last week's 4th update. So remember, the swingometer is how things are looking after 4 updates. This fifth update will go into next week's swingometer, if you see what I mean. Right, so here we go then. 3, 2, 1. Wow, wow, wow. 58% chance of a mild winter, says the GavsWeatherVids swingometer. So about a further swing after last week's update, a further swing from cold to mild. We are now favouring, with our winter updates, a milder than average winter by 58%. I'm going to get rid of my webcam. Make sure they can see that. There we go. 58% chance of a mild winter there. So, goodness gracious, the winter updates favouring a mild winter so far. Still got a lot of updates to do, though, but that is a further swing from cold to mild, and now we favour a milder than average winter by 58%. You'll find out at the beginning of next week's 6th update how this 5th update has affected things. Thank you so much to Richard. Thank you so much, Richard, for our swingometer. And to Baby Yoda, too. Sorry, everyone. Right, let's start the 5th update then. So we're going to begin with some analogues. I've got 2 sets of analogues to show you for this one. So the first set, we go back to August data for the first set. So we had a very, very sunny August, as you see here from the anomaly map at the UK Met Office. Set against 91 to 2020 average. You can see that all parts of the country, except for Northern Scotland, had above average sunshine in August. Some places are very much so. So it was actually one of the top 10 sunniest August since 1950 on record. So we're going to go through the top 10 sunniest August since 1950 and the winters that follow them. And the first one at number 10 is 1955. August 1955 was the 10th sunniest August on record since 1950. Anyway, and this is 1955, 1956. So this has shown up quite a lot within our analogues this year. Has blocking around Greenland, has below average heights, low pressure to our south, and we bring the wind from the east. The thing with that winter is that it's very backloaded, severely cold in February, relatively mild in December. At number 9, we've got 2005. So the winter of 05-06 has high pressure blocking things out to the north with low pressure to the south. You would look at that and think it's a very cold winter, but it was not. It was like a failed cold winter, that one. But it did get cold later on in February and into March. Before that, it was a bit chilly at times, but generally for the analog, which you will think is really good for like cold, it wasn't. Failed cold winter, that one. At number 8, we've got 1991. August 1991 was the 8th sunniest August since 1950. The winter of 91-92, very dry, anti-cyclone, one of the most boring winters that you could possibly have. Although not so for Eastern Europe. Look at the trough team down from Eastern Europe. So it would have been a very cold winter in the east of Europe. But for us, we're stuck under that ridge. So that was a dry and mild winter. At number 7, we've got August 1989, the winter of 89-90 was mild, wet and windy with low pressure to the west and high pressure to the south, and winds coming up from the southwest. That was a very mild winter to end the 1980s. At number 6, we've got 1983. The winter of 83-84 was cold and zonal with low pressure to the northwest, high pressure to the southwest, winds coming in from a west-northwest direction. Very strange winds, anticyclonic, but quite cold from Canada. Right, top 5 then. The 5th sunniest August was 1975. The winter 75-76, some ways similar to 91-92 really, in that it was generally dry and very mild winter in 75-76 in the middle of the 2 drought summers. At number 4, we've got 2003. 2003 was the 4th sunniest August since 1950, and we can see that winter of 03-04. Again, it's one of those winters that looks like should be quite a cold winter. Wasn't really. Yeah, some cold snaps again, particularly later on in February. Right, at number 3, we've got 2022. So August 2022 was the 3rd sunniest August since 1950, and there we see the questions to answer. What will the winter of 22-23 will it be like? We do not know. That's what we're trying to find out. At number 2, it's the daddy. It's a daddy. Daddy of hot summers. It's 1976. The winter of 76-77 has blocking around Greenland. It's a severely cold winter into Eastern America. For us in the west of Europe, we have generally quite a mild late winter, but early winter is cold. December and into January, cold in 76-77. And then the cold sort of retreats over to the other side of the Atlantic, where Eastern America gets the coldest winter on record. Overall, that is quite a cold winter, though, actually, for 76-77, following the daddy of hot summers in 1976. And August 76 was the 2nd sunniest August on record since 1950. And then at number 1, I'm sure you can guess what it is. It's 1995. So the August of 1995 was the sunniest August on record since 1950, and probably all months before that as well, or August before that as well. It's a cold winter as well, with high pressure blocking around Scandinavia, low pressure to the south, easterly winds coming and going through the winter of 95-96, very on-off with the cold through that winter. Right, let's put all that together then. This is how all Decembers combined are looking, following the top 10 sunniest August since 1950. Tends to have high pressure close to the coast, so quite anti-cyclonic. You would think relatively mild signal for those Decembers. All Januaries combined looking like that. It looks like we're saying energy samples, but there's no real blocking signal, except maybe right way over in the Arctic Circle. So it's a strange anomaly. You could see that high pressure would be trying to bring easterly winds, but overall probably a relatively mild signal for both Januaries too. February probably holds the best prospect for cold weather. This is how all February's combined are looking following the top 10 sunniest August. High pressure is over Scandinavia, low pressure is to our south, and winds tending to be in from an easterly direction in the February. So I reckon out of all of the months following the top 10 seasons, out of all the months, February holds best chance of being cold. Overall analog for all winters combined following the top 10 sunniest August looks like that, and relatively anti-cyclonic. We know that's particularly down though to what's happening in the Decembers, where high pressure does tend to move a little bit when we get into the Januaries and into the Februaries as well. Thank you so much to Shryan for those suggested years, and we will have more analogues a little bit later on in this fifth winter 2022-2023 update. I'll pause the video there, and when we return, we're going to have a look at some solar data for you. So I shall see you in around 2 seconds time. See you soon. Okay, we're back. I'm so sorry. We're back, ready to resume the fifth winter 2022-2023 update from GavsWeatherVids. Wow! On this update so far, we have got lots more to show you. But if you enjoyed the video up to this point, then please can you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. We're grinding right now. You know, Gav loves to grind. We're grinding to 15,000 subscribers. So if you could give us a sub and tell friends and family to subscribe as well, it would be amazing, and it would be incredible too. Let's play the game, Rich. Let's do it. We're going to play the game. Right, well, we're going to get crack on with the second part of this fifth winter update, and we're going to have a look at solar activity next. So this is looking on our side today from solarham.net. We have got various sunspot regions all over the place. So plenty of sunspots going on. And I can tell you about solar activity is at moderate levels, but it's expected to be low, but could be moderate in the next 3 days. This is the GavsWeatherVids Winter Update Solar Activity Tracker from Shryan. Thank you to Shryan Bruin for updating this for us. So having a lovely Sunday, Shryan. So here we go. Then dates on the bottom of the graph. The orange line and orange spots depicting each individual day's worth of sunspot activity. You see, we had a big old spike. Talked about this last week. Had a big old spike earlier on in September. Things did drop down a little bit after that, but still at a moderately highish level. We are moving into solar maximum now, of course. You can see that the green line, which is the 30-day trend, has ticked up actually since that point, which is like middle of August. Over the past few weeks, we have seen the 30-day trend ticking back up. We haven't quite got back to the level that we was at in May, with that big spike that we had in May. But we've had a more active month actually in September. This is how Solar Cycle 24 is looking on a month-by-month basis in comparison to Solar Cycle. This is how Solar Cycle 25 is looking on a month-by-month basis in comparison compared to Solar Cycle number 24. So September is just there, that blue spot just there. And you can see it's virtually on a par actually. September virtually on a par with May, just a little bit under May in terms of the monthly sunspot number, but certainly more active than like what it was in August when we were down there. June was down there, by the way. July ticked up to there. So we're sort of up and down a little bit at the moment. We're moving in solar maximum, but not in a linear fashion. You can see that the comparable point on the chart to Solar Cycle 24 for Social 25 is like around here, and that's sort of 2011 to 2012, that sort of area. So in Social 24 we did have a big spike up in December 2011, and that's our first maximum. So we're waiting to see whether we get our first maximum for Solar Cycle later this year or early next year. Thank you so much, Shryan, for the trackers. Now this is from Richard. Thank you so much, Rich. Hope you're having a lovely Sunday, Rich. This is Spotted Days and the current spotted stretch as well. So, for 2022 so far, we've had 275 days with sunspots, which is 99% of the year. So, last year we had 301 days with sunspots, that was 82% of the year. 2020 had 158 days with sunspots, that's 43% of the year. And 2019 had 84 days of the year with sunspots, that was 23%. Again, our comparable year is 2011. So, come down here, 2011, that's our comparable year for Solar Cycle 24. And that also had 99% of the year with sunspots. 2012 had 100% of the year with sunspots. So we should basically, and as did 2013 by the way, so you should basically have every single day with sunspots from now until like 2 or 3 years away, or maybe even a little bit more than that. And if we start seeing days without sunspots turning up at some point in the next year or two, we will know something very strange is going on. Thank you so much to Richard and to Shryan for the solar data. Oceans next. So this is how sea surface temperature anomalies were looking across the oceans. We did last week's 4th update. Got 4 areas of interest. ENSO region just here, Northern Pacific over there, Indian Ocean over here, North Atlantic Ocean is over there. That's how the oceans looked last week. This is the latest. There we go. So we can see for ENSO first of all, we've had a further strengthening of La Nina in the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. All areas are reflecting La Nina. That blue colour there stretching out across the equatorial Pacific Ocean is cold average sea surface temperature anomalies in all parts of the ENSO region, but particularly here over in the eastern portion of the actual equatorial Pacific Ocean, we have seen further cooling, with the blues actually going purple there towards the east side. So on the temperature anomaly scale, that's around 4 to 5 degrees below average. Wow. In the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean. So quite clearly, La Nina in the eastern part of the ENSO region has strengthened. But in all regions, we are reflecting this ENSO state. Going further northwards into the northern Pacific, so we're looking up here now, particular focus through there. That's how it looked last week. This is the latest. Not much change, really. All areas still above average. So no response yet around here to this La Nina. We're waiting to see if we get a response to La Nina. We should do. The wider ocean should respond and cool to the La Nina. If you think what the La Nina is doing, it's basically turning down the thermostat via the oceans, and it should be sort of lowering the ocean temperature there. And eventually that should impact the Indian Ocean, and it should even impact the Atlantic Ocean, to be honest, and all roads should lead to, should lead to ENSO and should lead to the actual Pacific Ocean. At the moment, we don't see much sign of response in the Northern Pacific. We should wait and see if we do indeed get a cool down up here in the northern and northeastern Pacific Ocean. Over in the Indian Ocean, again, just reflecting that negative IOD, Indian Ocean dipole, so it remains cooler through there, it remains warmer through there. Not much change on last week, maybe a little bit of a strengthening of the negative IOD, if anything, with cooling around there. But yeah, very reflective of negative IOD in the Indian Ocean. And then in the North Atlantic, let's go back to last week. So that's how the anomaly is looking in the North Atlantic last week. It's generally very warm, really, across most parts of the North Atlantic Ocean. This is the latest. Again, not much change. Warmest anomaly is sort of congregating to the south of Greenland, from Newfoundland to Greenland. The tropical Atlantic remains quite warm, as does the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. I mean, it looks just a little bit cooler through there, but not excessively so. The 7-day change looks like that. So you can see the cooling that's happened in the eastern portion of the equatorial Pacific Ocean just there, in terms of the past 7 days. India, North Pacific, so it has cooled a little bit across most parts of the North Pacific, but only by like a degree or so. And so if the anomaly is like 5 or 6 degrees above average, and 1 degree cooling over the past 7 days will still leave it significantly above average. Actually, around here, it's warmed a little bit, where we're looking to see if we start cooling things down. In the Indian Ocean, most areas are warmed in the southern Indian Ocean and in the far north. In between, it has got a little bit cooler through there. And then over in the North Atlantic, we can see that the tropical Atlantic is still warming, still looking very prime for more storms, I think. So around here in the Genesis area for both tropical storms, whatnot, towards Africa, very warm sea surface temperature anomalies through there. Northwards, the eastern seaboard has continued to cool down a little bit, still warming up south of Greenland, cooling a bit through there. Not as much of a tripole signature with a 7-day change this week compared to the last 2 or 3 weeks. Notice it is cooling around the UK and like into the Norwegian Sea up here as well. So generally many areas have cooled down, but of course that's from a high level. So although we've cooled the anomalies down over the past, or cooled sea surface temperatures, sea temperatures down over the past 7 days, despite that, because the anomalies are so far above average, most areas are still looking quite warm. Although we do see a little bit of blue there towards Iceland, so we should wait and see where things go, of course. In terms of La Nina, CFSB2 continues to forecast La Nina continuing to the winter, so current position is around there. We can see that CFSB2 Ensemble Plume forecasting La Nina to say at weak to moderate levels through to around January, and then in the second part of winter and towards spring, lifting back up to ENSO neutral. So La Nina winter, third La Nina winter in 2022-2023. Southern Oscillation Index is looking like this. Remember, it's just an index reflecting the atmospheric state, doesn't drive anything in its own terms, just tells us what the atmosphere is doing. When the SY is negative, we're reflecting El Nino with the atmospheric state. When the SY is positive, we're reflecting La Nina with the atmospheric state. SY, measuring air pressure between Tahiti and Darwin as well. So just positivity continuing, really. This is the column of air pressure for Tahiti, this column of air pressure for Darwin, and then the overall SY number is just there. And you see in the overall number column, it's very positive, really. 24th of September plus 17, 25th of September plus 24, 26th of September plus 32, 27th of September plus 35, 28th of September plus 25, 29th of September plus 16, 30th of September plus 11, and the latest day, 1st of October, plus 17. And so that keeps the SOI 30-day average, which is this red line, that keeps it at a pretty high level. So the atmosphere, the ocean coupled up, that is why La Nina continues to strengthen. Related to sea surface temperatures is, of course, the Atlantic hurricane season. So this is how the Atlantic hurricane season is looking in terms of the scores on the doors from a page at Wikipedia. So for this season so far, we have had 10 tropical depressions. We haven't had 9 tropical storms. We've had 4 hurricanes and 2 major hurricanes, including, of course, Hurricane Ian, which gave devastation to parts of Florida just a few days ago. There are the scores on the doors. How is ACE looking? Let's have a look. Better remember, ACE is just telling us how much energy all of these storms are emitting on a seasonal, on a year-by-year basis. ACE is classified as below normal, near normal, above average, and hyperactive. So this is the latest, updated from our ACE Master Shrine. Thanks so much to Shrine Brewing for updating this. Thanks so much to the ACE Master. So for 2022 so far, our ACE is standing at 79.10, which is still below average. At this point in October, 1st of October, we'll expect to be at 95.50. So despite the big ramp up in activity that we had last week, including Hurricane Ian, Actually, we're still a little bit under par for ACE at the moment. And of course, that is after 9 hurricanes, 9 tropical storms, I should say. You expect to have 11. That's after 4 hurricanes. You expect to have 5. And that's after 2 major hurricanes. And you would expect to have 2. So we've almost caught up now to where you expect to be with the season. But we're just still a little bit under in terms of the total tropical storm and total hurricane number. Shryan, the Ace Master, will keep us updated with that. Of course he will, for the rest of the season. Right, well, we're 25 minutes in, almost, and we've still got so much more to show you. I'll pause the video there, and when we come back, we're going to be looking at things like the QBO, the quasi-biennial oscillation, and we'll also have a look at what's going on in the stratosphere as well. So I shall see you in around 2 seconds. Okay, we're back and we're ready to resume the 5th Winter 2022-2023 update from GavsWeatherVids. If you enjoyed the video so far, please like, share, subscribe, and just show everyone for doing that. Play the GIF one more time. Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much. And name a bird on our live stream tomorrow. It's going to be very, very funny. So thank you so much, Rich, for the GIF, and let's crack on then. So, the Western QBO continues to descend. This is from NASA, and this sandy coloured area here is a westerly phase of a quasi-biennial oscillation, descending from the stratosphere down to the troposphere through there. So we're in a westerly QBO, and we will remain in a westerly QBO through this winter. And this is from NOAA, and next week we will be able to bring you the latest number for September for the quasi-biennial oscillation. It will be placed just there. I think it will be a little bit more positive than it was last month or the month before in August. Then was at plus 7.87. I think September will have seen a further strengthening of La Nina. What am I talking about? Of the QBO, Western QBO, but we will find out and confirm it next week. This is how temperatures are looking in the stratosphere over the Arctic and the North Pole. So where we've got these blue curves, these are the cold temperatures in the stratosphere, and of course you'd expect the temperatures being colder in the strat at this time of the year. And that's very much what we are seeing there, both a deepening and expanding of those blue colours, which, of course, is actually the polar vortex at its roots in the stratosphere. And the polar vortex is always very important in terms of being the big driver, of the low pressure and of the westerlies through the winter. Let's see what the GFS is forecasting for the PV over the next couple of weeks then. So those blue colours there remain anchored and rooted over the North Pole, but notice the deepest of the blue do get displaced a little bit over towards Canada, so that's quite unusual at this time of year. That's what I call a displacement event. So we are seeing that the polar vortex where it's been at its roots, at its core, being pushed more towards the Canadian side of the Arctic compared to where it starts off at. That's quite unusual to see that at this time of the year. Moving through into extended range with the GFS, that displacement event continues for a while, and then we see those blue colours beginning to return their focus onto Greenland and over to the top of the pole, and still expanding out. You'll notice the blue colours still expanding, telling us about overall over the next couple of weeks the polar vortex will continue to deepen. However, that push of the PV and its roots over towards Canada, I think is weakening the solar wind slightly over next week. So this is from the ECMWF, and should we go there? We'll go there. This is from the ECMWF, and you can see that at the moment this red line here is like the average line for this time of year. So at this time of year, solar winds should be getting stronger as the polar vortex gets stronger, and at the moment we are actually a little bit stronger than average with the solar wind. Not much, but a little bit stronger than average with solar winds. But as you go through into like the second week of October, we do see quite a significant weakening of the solar winds there at 10 HPA in the stratosphere. And I think that's probably being caused by the PV being displaced more towards the Canadian side of the Arctic. It doesn't last for long. The PV then starts to, or the zone of wind, then starts to return back to average, may even go a little bit stronger than average later on in July, although later on. In October, I should say, although there is a lot of scatter by the time we get through into the end of October and the start of November. But yeah, that's like the first sort of kick-in, I suppose, for the PV, that weakening of zone of winds that we see there, which is quite unusual, as I say. That's quite unusual to get that in October. So it might be something, might be nothing, but it's like the first sort of punch, I suppose, at the PV. Arctic oscillation observed and forecast looking like this. So for most of September, the AO, indicated by the black line here, was in a neutral to negative state, but now the Arctic oscillation being forecast by the GFS ensemble in the first half of October to go positive. Remember, the AO just reflects atmospheric states. So when it's negative, you've got blocking over the Arctic. When it's positive, you've got low pressure over the Arctic. So that tells us we're going from like a block sort of scenario in September over the Arctic and over North Pole to a much more low pressure driven pattern over the Arctic and over the North Pole too, with the AO going into quite significantly, quite strongly positive territory there. That's the most strong. If it comes off, it's only a forecast, but if that comes off, it's the most strong the AO has been, certainly since like the start of June. In terms of the NAO, observed and forecast, it looks like that. For most of September, the NAO was in a neutral to negative state, especially negative, very negative early on in the month. We're around neutral now. GFS Ensemble's forecasting after the first half of October, the NAO will stay in a neutral state as well. Remember, that's just an index that reflecting atmospheric state, doesn't drive anything in its own terms. This has been quite a negative NAO September that's just gone though. So for our second analogues package, we're going to have a look at winters following negative NAO September. So these are the most negative NAO September. Shrine got these together for us, so thanks so much to Shrine for that. Right, so let's have a look then. The first one is 1952-1953, following a very negative NAO September. That one has high pressure out to our west and low pressure to our south. So it tries to be a cold winter, but it doesn't really turn into a particularly cold winter. The next negative NAO September is 1972. The winter of 72-73 looks like that. So quite a mild and dry winter for that one, 72-73. Then we've got 76-77 turning up again. That's been so often in our winter updates this year. So September 1976, at the end of the Daddy of Hot Summers, we had a very wet September, and that was a very negative NAO September as well. So we know what happened with this one, very cold winter for Eastern America, blocking signal up north. For us, it started off cold in December and into January, then got mild for February, a classic front-loaded winter. Then we got September 1993, the winter of 93-94 was another generally quite mild Atlantic-driven 1990s winter. However, it did have quite a few cold snaps coming and going, particularly so in February of 1994, which had some east winds, which weren't that common in the 1990s. Then we've got 94-95, so we had another very negative NAO September in 1994. Winter 94-95, just generally very mild, wet and stormy really, with low pressure in off the Atlantic. There were a few cold snaps here and there, but overall that was a very mild winter and very wet too. We've got 1998-1999 showing up there. Next, this is another mild 1990s winter. Again, a few cold snaps coming and going, but not amounting to much. That's another mild winter. We've got 01-02, September 2001 was a negative NAO September. This one, the analog doesn't really tell you all that much about this winter because it has a cold December and relatively dry, and then it turns milder and stormier later on in the winter. We've got 02-03, which you would look at and think is a cold winter with high pressure Scandinavian low pressure to our south and winds in from the east. It wasn't a particularly cold winter though in 02-03. A few cold snaps but no more. And then we've got 08-09. That's the start of the run of cold winters from 08-09 to 2012-2013. And that's quite a cold winter, has high pressure, particularly centred towards Scandinavia, low pressure to our south, winds in from the east. The coldest portion of that winter, of course, was in the first half of February 2009. And we've got 2014-2015 showing up next. This is about average sort of winter, relatively mild, low pressure to the north, high pressure out west, and winds coming in from off the Atlantic. So putting all back together, this is how all Decembers combined are looking, following very negative NAO Septembers, and overall quite unsettled for these Decembers, with low pressure across Western Europe bringing spells of rain. That's how all Januaries combined are looking, following very negative NAO Septembers. Again, just sort of wet really, unsettled low pressure through the north and west of Europe. It's a mild signal as well. All Februaries combined might hold out the prospect of some colder snaps. It's not a classic chart by any means, but it looks like the low pressure gets centred more towards our east with some higher pressure out west. So that might allow some colder snaps from the north, but overall just another unsettled, relatively mild month. And then finally, this is how all winters combined are looking, following very negative NAO Septembers, and it's a wet scene, very unsettled scene for these winters, with lots of low pressure across the northern and western parts of Europe. Next week, we're going to start bringing you September CT data. So the CT came out at 14.4 for September 2022, which was about 0.9 degree above average, and you'll find out next week what that could mean for the winter. Thank you so much to Shryan for getting all of our analogue years together for us on this update. Right, one last pause, and when we come back, we're going to go through Eurasian snow cover data. So that'll be coming up in around 2 seconds. I shall see you then for that. Okay, we're back and we're ready to resume the 5th Winter 2022-2023 update from GavsWeatherVids. If you enjoyed the video so far, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for doing that. This is the climax of our winter update this week. Thank you so much, Richard, for the gift. You play it. Let's play it. Play it rich. There we go. Thank you so much, Richard, for the gift. Okay. Let's do this then. So this is how Eurasian snow cover was looking when we did last week's 4th winter update. We established that back to 1998, we had never had that much snow cover across eastern portions of Siberia at that point of the year, up to the 23rd of September. Let's see the latest, Ben. How's it changed over the past week? This is it. So a further expansion of snow cover has taken place across eastern portions of Siberia over the past week. We've also got a little bit of snow down across the southern parts of central Russia as well. Clearly, compared to last week, there has been a further significant expansion, further significant gains in snow cover have taken place. How does that compare with recent years? Let's have a look. So this is 2001. We've got more snow this year than 2001. That's 2020. 2021, I should say. That's 2020. Way more snow this year compared to 2020. That's 2019. Much more snow this year compared to 2019. That's 2018. No comparison. Much more snow this year, 2018. That's 2017. What do you think about that one? I think got a little bit more snow than 2017, but that's close, you know, that's close actually. 2017, that's 2016, maybe a little bit behind 2016 overall, but this southern part of central Russia, there's more snow this year than 2016, so that's probably quite close overall. That's 2015, we've got much more winter snow this year compared to 2015, that's 2014. Again, that's probably a close one. Maybe a little bit more at this point in 2014. At 2013, I think probably a little bit more snow cover in 2013 compared to this year. That's 2012, way more snow cover this year compared to 2012. That's 2011, again, way more snow cover this year compared to 2011. That's 2010, more snow cover this year compared to 2010. That's 2009, absolutely no comparison whatsoever to 2009. That is 2008, again, no comparison. That's 2006, no comparison to that year either. That's 2005, no comparison there. That's 2004, once more, there's no comparison. That's 2003, no comparison to that year. That's 2002, probably quite close to 2002, actually. That's one of the closer years, I think. That's 2001, I think a little bit ahead of 2001. That's 2000, we're ahead of that year as well. That is 1999, and we are ahead of 1999, and that's 1998. We are ahead of that year as well, I think, just a little bit. So we're not as far ahead, as we was last week. Last week we was above all years at that point in September. This year we've got years that have caught up with us, but we're doing pretty well for snow cover. We're not doing too bad at all. Right, hang on, hold yours. So I'm just going to go back through here because I want to show you all of the data back to 1997 to 966. Right, so I won't do the comparison for this, but I will show you. So sort of keep this idea in your mind. Maybe you're going to turn your head upside, just stand on your head for these charts at Rutgers Snow Lab. I won't compare every single chart, it'll take too long, but just keep that in your mind's eye, okay, everyone? Just keep where the snow cover is in your mind's eye, and we shall quickly zip through these. So that's 1997. We're ahead of 1997 for snow cover at this point. That's 1996. We're ahead of 1996 as well. That is 1995. We're ahead of 1995. There was quite a lot of snow cover across eastern Siberia at this point in 1995, and a little bit further south, so that's probably close-ish. So yeah, that's 1994, we're ahead of that year. 93, we're ahead of that year too. 92, I think we're ahead of that year, but notice further further westwards, I should say, into central northern Siberia. But we're ahead overall of 92. That's 91, no comparison. That's 1990, barely any snow at this point in 1990 across any portion of Russia. That's 1989. We're probably quite close to that one. That's 1988, no comparison, barely any snow cover there. That's 1987, we're ahead of 1987. That's 1986. Probably in total coverage quite close to 1986, but the areas that I covered are a little bit different. That's 1985, we're way ahead of 1985. That's 1984, we're ahead of that year. 1983, we're ahead of 1983. 1982, ahead of that year. 1981, we are also ahead of that year. 1980, we're ahead of. 1979, I think we're ahead of. Notice that's more towards the far eastern portion of Siberia, but I think we're ahead of 1989. That's 1979, I should say. That's 1978, again, we're ahead of that year. That's 1977, we're behind 1977. Look how much of Russia and Siberia was covered at this point in Serbia, at this point 1977. Wow, we're behind that year. That is 1976, we're behind 76, barely any snow cover at this point in 1976. 1975, we're ahead of that year. 1974, we're also ahead of that year. 1973, probably quite close to that one, but the area's covered a little bit different. 1972, again, probably quite close to that one. No data for 71. We're well ahead of 1970, no data for 1969. We're well ahead of 1968. 1967, we're ahead of that year, and no data for 1966. And that, everyone, is the end of the 5th Winter 2022-2023 update at 43 minutes. I got through all of that in my target time. I think I did well. I'm going to give myself a little bit of a round of applause there. I think to get through all that within 45 minutes, I think was good going. So I hope you enjoyed this 5th Winter 2022-2023 update. It's unique content that no one else online is doing anything like these winter updates. So if you have enjoyed it, then please can you like the video and let me know in the comments which years you think we're closest to in terms of Eurasian snow cover, and we're going to do it all over again next week. Thank you so much to Shryan, thank you so much to Richard for all of the help on this update. So you know, Shrine and Rich make me look good, to be honest. I'm the smallest cog in the wheel, but the real hard work comes from Shrine and it comes from Richard. So thank you so much to Shrine, thank you so much to Richard, Shrine Blue, Richard Short, for the help on this update and for making me look good. You know, thank you so much to both of them. Thank you so much for watching. We will be discussing this winter update tomorrow when we do our live stream. That'll be at 8 PM. So we will discuss this 5th Winter 2022-2023 update at 8 PM tomorrow in our live. And yeah, next week, of course, you will see how this 5th update has affected the spherometer. That'll be the first thing that we show you. We'll look at more Eurasian snow cover data. We're going to bring you analogues for September century and temperature 2. Be another epic update for next week's 6th update. But for this 5th Winter 2022-2023 update, that's all for now. And thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.